Hey guys, Tan with Fox Airsoft here, and today we're going to tackle an interesting subject. We're going to do a little bit of real talk about airsoft sniping in general. Now, before we start, I want to point you out to our contest here. Right now we're going to give away an ASG Mark 13 by Archwick. That's going to be at the end of March here. So if you want a chance to win, be sure to sign up for free at foxairsoft.com. It's open to US and Canadian residents right now. All right, so let's talk about the act of airsoft sniping. So a lot of people on the internet come to Fox or a lot of airsoft stores in general after seeing a lot of airsoft sniper montages. Now, it's a great thing to see out there because it highlights a lot of action, gets people interested in the sport. But what happens when you actually get out there and do it for the first time yourself? Well, so here's some things that I want to talk about as far as getting out there and playing for the first time. A lot of people come in after seeing one of those videos and gets excited about airsoft sniping, and a lot of people who have played for a bit will tell you it's probably not the best place to start, and here's why. So when you're playing as an airsoft sniper, depends on the type of field you play, first of all. So if you have the room to do it, you can go ahead and do that. If you play in a place that's like, you know, primarily medium to close range or CQB even, then you won't even have the opportunity to enjoy that sniper rifle properly. Another thing is just the type of crowds you're with or the type of gameplay you're looking for. So, you know, if you're playing a place where it doesn't have a lot of space, but it's crowded, you're in for a lot of action. You know, you get a lot of targets out there, but you might be limited in how you move, or you might get engaged a lot by people with full autos. So that's something to consider. And then lastly, the gameplay itself is a lot different than what you would get when you play with an AEG or something that's full auto. A lot of people's expectations, thanks to those videos, nothing wrong with them, but a lot of their expectations are a little bit skewed because they see a lot of edited clips of people getting the one shot, one kill, you know, out in an airsoft field, and those look really cool on video, but in reality, it's not as easy to pull off as those videos. When you're doing that, when you're actually out there doing the thing, you're going to be taking multiple shots. You know, at a long distance, if your gun isn't hitting that hard, people might not feel the hit, or you might think they're cheating, which, you know, sometimes that might be the case, but most of the time, you know, it's all in your head. So that might affect the way you perceive the game. If you're someone that's expecting those kind of kill montages, hate to break it to you, it's not that easy. Now, if you are actually looking into playing that role, you know, you decide that maybe being an up-close player is not for you. DMRs are kind of a weird spot in between for you. So you want to do the airsoft sniping. What do you do? How do you go about that? Well, as far as the equipment goes, as far as the rifles go, I'll tell you about that today. As far as developing the skills and how you dress and so on, I'll leave that to the other guys. As far as choosing your gun for sniping, you have to look at the rules for your field, if they're even allowed. Typically, you'll get higher velocity limits allowed for the bolt action guns that are spring powered, and maybe a different set of rules for DMR. So guns like this, where it's automatic electric, might not be allowed for those higher velocities. So when you buy it, you have to know fully what you're getting into and what you're buying. So if you're building out your sniper rifle, here's the thing. The really cheap sniper rifles, they will not last very long. They'll get the job done as far as shooting harder than an AEG, but not too hard. So you have to remember these things are built with budget in mind. So you can still have a lot of fun with it, but if you're doing something serious with it, you have to understand these can only last so long. They can only shoot so hard, and the parts availability just isn't there because the parts that are out there are more geared towards serious-minded players that want to build up a better platform to start with. So when you're choosing your sniper rifle and you want to be serious about it, you have to pick something that is going to be fully supported in terms of parts inside. The critical components to a spring sniper rifle are the sear and trigger unit and the piston. Those are the common most failed parts in an airsoft sniper rifle, whether it's a cheap one or an expensive one. So over time, this part will wear out. When you address it with upgrades, then you can have the gun last longer and have a better experience. Problem is, how do you go about doing that? Well, if you are the type to tinker with your own guns, that might be a good route for you. Being an airsoft sniper and having people build your gun for you, you can also do that, but you know, in the end, it might be a little bit more expensive. So just keep that in mind. So with that, we have a couple guns on our roster that's a good starting point if you're serious about sniping in airsoft that I would recommend. Of course, we mentioned the ASG Archwick Mark 13, which is our current contest gun. That one probably features the most fully built internals and externals out of the box and shoots hard too. I've looked at it inside. I own one myself, and I can tell you that it's durable enough to take some serious upgrades if you need to, but it's already upgraded, so you don't have to do all that stuff and have it shooting right at the limits and at its best compared to other rifles. You can also look into stuff like the Echo One Nemesis Vanquish. That one's a unique system. It's pretty compact. It's a spring bolt action as well, shoots hard out of the box, and features a good proper piston sear setup so that it's durable and doesn't cost too much. Another solid entry into the lineup would be the ASG Action Army T11. So if you don't know who Action Army is, they're a firm based out of Asia who builds custom aftermarket parts for VSR-10 style systems, which is the predominant sniper rifle system out there. With that T11, you're basically getting a fully built gun out of the box at a pretty fair price range in the 200s. So if you want to start with a not too terribly expensive rifle that you want fully built, that would be my place to start rather than something that's under $200. When you're looking at the sniper rifles under $200, upgrades are few and far in between. The parts will break after a fair amount of use. Things that will be wearing out very fast are the pistons, the sear assembly, and then sometimes the bolt itself will often get loose and break and so on. So in the end, you're best served by spending just a little bit more and having a better starting point. And to achieve the kind of performance that you see on those videos, you're probably going to have to be investing in more expensive BBs, and that'll be the heavyweight ones. So 3.6s, 4.0s, 4.3s, or even heavier. So you have to account that into your budget because you're going to be spending more for that extra accuracy. With that, you also have to keep in mind some fields require biodegradable BBs, so take that into consideration when shopping for ammo. Other than that, the last important thing about airsoft sniping that a lot of people miss is the scope or optic setup itself. A lot of people just slap on whatever scope, but they don't know how to zero the scope. There's videos that we've done and other people have done that show you how to properly zero the scope. If you do that, you'll probably be on target most of the time. So I would start with learning how to zero your scope after adjusting your hop up as part of your main fundamentals for getting into airsoft sniping. All right, so that was a lot of information for you to digest all at once. So it's a big topic. You're gonna have to do a lot of research on your own, find out what works best for you. Probably a lot of trial and error too. So be sure to ask a lot of questions when you're getting ready to buy. Keep in mind what your goals are when you ask those questions, and you should be on the right path there. All right, guys, that does it for us today. That's airsoft sniping in a nutshell, or the truth about airsoft sniping, I should say. We really appreciate that you guys have been along for the ride for so long with us. We see the subscriber count going up, so definitely welcoming the new players there who just joined us over the past year. One thing I'd really appreciate from you guys is if you like what we do, be sure to give a like, comment, and follow us on our social media. Another great thing you can do is if you're helping out some buddies getting into the sport, share our content with them so that they can get started the right way. That's our goal for the channel here. We want to make the good stuff, good content for you to learn from and have a good experience out there in airsoft and ultimately grow the sport. So appreciate your time in watching today. I'm Tank from Fox Airsoft. I will see you guys later.